Hey everybody, welcome back to another Whole Lot of Drumming YouTube video. Today, I'm going to show you 5 ways to spice up your groove using your hi-hats. Stick around. Now before we get started, I just want to welcome those of you who are here for the very first time. I invite you to subscribe, click that notification bell, and you'll always be notified every time I release a new video. And for those of you who have been here before, who still have not subscribed, I invite you also to click subscribe, and you'll always know when I release a new video. Alright, so let's get started. Now, I'm going to use cooking as an analogy for this lesson. So when you normally cook food, we like to add some spice to it to give it some flavor, right? So it tastes better. For those foods that have absolutely no taste to begin with, or maybe doesn't taste that well to begin with, and the thought of adding spice to it, hoping that it's going to be better, well, you know what happens when you do that, right? It tastes okay right from the get-go, but that aftertaste is pretty awful, right? Well, it's the same thing with grooves. We first have to establish that your groove sounds good to begin with, okay? So this lesson is all based on that, okay? We're assuming that the groove that you're playing is already sounding really good, okay? And now this lesson is going to show you 5 ways to add some spice to this groove so that it takes it up a notch. Now remember, just with spice on food, if you add too much spice, it's going to be overkill. Same thing with grooves. You want to spice it up, but not too much. Now you'll notice on the examples coming up soon, I do tend to spice it up quite a bit, and that's only because I'm trying to show you examples of how to do this in a very short period of time, okay? I don't normally spice things up to this degree when I play gigs and when I do stuff, right? So just keep that in mind. Here's the first way to spice up your groove using your hi-hats. It's a pretty obvious one, okay? Accents. Accents are amazing. It's a great way to create a nice forward motion to the groove. It's a great way to take the certain groove that you're playing and making it sound a little bit different. It's just a nice way to complement whatever else rhythmically is going on in the song. So here's an example. So here's the second way to spice up your groove using your hi-hats. It's also a pretty obvious one. It's the opening of your hi-hats in specific areas. Now I find, opening the hi-hats on the ands tend to be quite popular, and it creates a nice forward motion effect. But also, don't neglect the downbeats. You can open a hi-hat on the downbeats as well. And when you combine the two, some downbeats mixed with some upbeats, you get some pretty interesting flavors. Some interesting grooves. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. So number 3 is where we take our left hand and play it on the hi-hat on the E's and or the Ahs. This is one of my favorites. It really creates a very nice forward motion effect. It really takes that funky element to another level just by playing E's and Ahs with your left hand on the hi-hat, along with your right hand that is also on the hi-hat. So let me demonstrate. Now, you've noticed on those E's and Ahs that not only are you playing the hi-hat with your left hand, but you can also accent it as well to really take it to another level. So number 4, we get into the right hand playing the figure 1 and a or 1 E and. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be on 1. It could be 2 E and or 2 and a. It could be 3 E and or 3 and a. And of course, it can be 4 E and or 4 and a mixture of them all. Now, it's pretty cool. Again, this creates this forward motion effect, and I tend to use this quite frequently. Here's an example. Okay, now we get to the 5th and final way to spice up your groove using your hi-hats. Slightly advanced, but really cool. It's where you play a 5-stroke roll, both hands on the hi-hat, specifically on the and of 4. Anyways, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Now that you've seen all 5 examples, it's time now to demonstrate what it's like to incorporate all 5 of them into a groove. And like I mentioned before, I do kind of overkill it a little bit just to give you an example, but only because of this video. Normally in a song I don't spice it up this much, but this gives you an idea and hopefully it'll inspire you to try these out and see how it goes. Anyways, here's an example of all 5 of them together. Well, I hope you've enjoyed these 5 ways of spicing up your groove using your hi-hats. Look, if you're a beginner and some of these may be, pretty overwhelming, or you think that it's just above you, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Even if you can, take one of them and apply it to your development right now, that's fantastic. Okay, so stick with it and perhaps use this as a motivation for something that you'd like to aspire to. I'd like to also suggest that you practice these at various tempos. In one of my previous videos, I really emphasized the importance of not playing at the same tempo ranges, the ones that you are accustomed to, that you need to go outside of those ranges and, practice in those ranges as well. This will help develop your time, so please factor that into your practicing. I also would like to mention that all the lesson material presented to you in this video, you can find them in the description below. I've prepared a nice little lesson sheet with all the content on this video. Here's a suggestion: print it out, create yourself a binder, and put all of the lesson sheets from all my videos in there, and you will always have it accessible to you when you want to practice, of course. Once again, I would like to invite all of you who have not subscribed yet to do so. Click that notification bell and you'll always be notified when I put out a video. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to drop a comment, that would be amazing. Also, if you'd like to show me some demonstrations of how you guys are doing with this, just go to the Facebook page. I'll put the link on the description below, the Facebook page of A Whole Lot of Drumming, and drop a post in there in the visitor section and show me some examples. That would be amazing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.